So let us talk about ratio first. Basically, the ratio is the comparison of two quantities in the same unit in the form of division. Comparison of two quantities of same unit in the form of division, or in other words we may say that the ratio of two quantities A and B of same unit is A divided by B, which is denoted by A is to B. And here, if A is to B is a ratio, A is said to be antecedent of the ratio, antecedent of ratio, and B is called consequent of ratio. Now let us talk about duplicate ratio. So if A is to B is a ratio, then A square is to B square is said to be duplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B. Now the next topic is subduplicate ratio. So if A is to B is a ratio, then under root A is to under root B is said to be the subduplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B. Now let us talk about triplicate ratio. If A is to B is a ratio, then A cube is to B cube is said to be its triplicate ratio. Now let's talk about subtriplicate ratio. So if A is to B is a ratio, then cube root of A is to cube root of B. Cube root of A is written as A raised to the power 1 upon 3 is to cube root of B, may also be written as B raised to the power 1 upon 3. So cube root of A is to cube root of B is called the subtriplicate ratio of the ratio is to B. Now the next topic is compounded ratio. If A is to B, comma C is to D, comma F is to G are three ratios, then their compounded ratio is obtained by multiplying all the three ratios the same concept is applicable to two ratios or more than three ratios. So if A is to B, C is to D and F is to G are three ratios and we need to find out their compounded ratio. So the compounded ratio is equal to A upon B multiplied by C upon D multiplied by F upon G. So we may write it as ACF upon BDG, or this may be written as ACF is to BDG. Now let us talk about proportion. So the easiest and the simplest definition of proportion is the equality of two ratios is called a proportion. For example, if A is to B and C is to D are two equal ratios, so we may write them as A is to B is equal to C is to D, or A is to B, 4 dots, C is to D. So the equality of two ratios is called proportion. So we say that A, B, C, D are in proportion, or A, B, C, D are proportional. A, B, C and D are said to be in a proportion. There is a very important property of four quantities in proportion, that if A is to B is equal to C is to D, then A and D are said to be extreme terms. Here A and D are called extreme terms. And B and C are called mean terms. And the property of four quantities in proportion is the product of extreme terms is always equal to product of mean terms if four quantities are in proportion. Product of extreme terms is equal to product of mean terms. One more thing, if A is to B is equal to C is to D, that is if A, B, C, D are in a proportion, then here A is called first proportional, first proportional of the proportion. B is said to be second proportional, second proportional. C is called third proportional, and D is called fourth proportional. Now let us talk about continued proportion. So if A is to B is equal to B is to D, that is if the mean terms are identical to each other, so this is called a continued proportion. And here B is called mean proportional, mean proportional. And A is said to be first proportional, and C is said to be third proportional. And as we know that the product of extreme terms is always equal to product of mean terms of the terms of proportions. So these four quantities A, B and B, C are in proportion. So the extreme terms are A and C and mean terms are B and B, say. So product of mean term, that is B into B, that is B square, must be equal to the product of the extreme terms, that is A into C, AC. So B is equal to under root AC. So we come to the conclusion that if we are given two numbers and we need to find out the mean proportional of those two numbers, so we simply find it out by taking the square root of the product of the numbers. there are some very important laws of proportions. So we are going to discuss those laws. So first is invertendo. The first law is invertendo. If A upon B is equal to C upon D, it implies that B upon A is equal to D upon C. That is, if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then if we take the reciprocals of both the sides, the numbers remain in proportion. So B upon A is equal to D upon C. This law is called invertendo. Now, for example, For example, 1 upon 2 is equal to 4 upon 8. So by invertendo, we may write it as 2 upon 1 is equal to 8 upon 4. So now the next law is alternando. So what is alternando? Let A upon B is equal to C upon D. Then we may interchange the numerator and denominators on opposite sides of equality, and thus we may write it as D upon B is equal to C upon A. C upon A. In the same way, B and C may also be interchanged, and we may write the proportion as A upon C is equal to B upon D. So in this way, we may interchange the numerators and denominators on the opposite sides of equality in any way. Now, for example, two upon 3 is equal to 4 upon 6. So by alternando, we may write this proportion as 2 and 6 may be interchanged, and thus we may write them as 6 upon 3 is equal to 4 upon 2. So as you see, 3 will divide 6 2 times and 2 will divide 4 2 times. So the proportion is correct. In the same way, we may interchange 3 and 4. So we may write 2 upon 4 is equal to 3 upon 6. And as you see, 2 will divide 4 2 times and 3 will divide 6 2 times. So we have 1 upon 2 is equal to 1 upon 2. Thus the proportion is correct. Now the next law is componendo. That is, if A upon B is equal to C upon D, it implies that A plus B upon B is equal to C plus D upon D. That is, the denominators may be added to numerators on both sides of equality. The resulting numbers remain in proportion. For example, 3 upon 5 is equal to 6 upon 10. By componendo, we may add denominators to the numerators on both sides. So 3 plus 5 upon 5 is equal to 6 plus 10 6 plus 10 upon 10. Or 8 upon 5 is equal to 16 upon 10. So as you see, 16 and 10 both are divisible by 2. So 2 will divide 10 5 times and 16 8 times, so you will get 8 upon 5, the same expression as on the left hand side. So the numbers are in proportion. So this law is called componendo. Now let's talk about the next law, which is called dividendo. What is dividendo? Let A upon B is equal to C upon D. Implies that A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D. That is, if we subtract denominators from numerators on both the sides of equality, the resulting numbers remain in the proportion. So A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D if A upon B is equal to C upon D. Now let's take an example. Let's take the same numbers. 3 upon 5 is equal to 6 upon 10. So if we apply the dividendo, we may write as 3 minus 5 upon 5 is equal to 6 minus 10 upon 10. 6 minus 10 is equal to minus 4. So minus 4 upon 10. 4 and 10 both are divisible by 2. So if we divide both of the numbers by 2, we get minus 2 upon 5. So we may say that these numbers remain in proportion. So this is dividendo. Now we come to the last law, which is called componendo dividendo. And componendo dividendo is nothing but the combination of componendo and dividendo. This is most important law. So what is that? A upon B is equal to C upon D implies that A plus B upon A minus B is equal to C plus D upon C minus D. That is, if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then if we write the sum of numerators and denominators in the numerator and the difference in the denominator on both the sides of equality, the resulting numbers remain in proportion. So this is called componendo and dividendo, which is extremely useful in the study of ratio and proportion. Now, for example, three upon 5 is equal to 6 upon 10. Applying componendo dividendo, we may write it as 3 plus 5 upon 3 minus 5 is equal to 6 plus 10 upon 6 minus 10. So we get 8 upon minus 2 is equal to 16 upon minus 4. So as you see, minus 2 will divide 8 minus 4 times, and minus 4 will divide 16 minus 4 times. So minus 4 is equal to minus 4. So the result is valid. So this is componendo and componendo dividendo.